nervous system. The first slide we're going to look at is the cerebrum, which is slide number 97. The other slide will be the cerebellum, slide number 98. Spinal cord, 93. 20, the nerve, the ganglion, and 19, the nerve. Alright, 19 and 20. The first slide is the cerebrum. This is number 97. Please look at it under scanner. So this is how it looks like under scanner. Note that you can see bulges or elevations on the surface of the cerebrum. These are what you call gyri. And in between you will also find indentations. These are what we call sulci. And if they are deep enough, then we call them fissures. Now, we also usually see coverings, we call them meninges, from out going in. That will be the dura, followed by the arachnoid, and the last one is the pia. For the cerebrum, the only visible meninx is your pia, which is described as closely adherent. There you go, you can see that. Closely adherent to the surface of your cerebrum, and it's a vascular structure. So you see, these are your blood vessels that you find within your pia matter. When you look at the tissue, cerebral tissue, it's divided into two zones. The outer zone from the pia to this area, no? So kung light area na to, no? So again, from this point to this point, this will be your cerebral cortex, which is made up of gray matter. The inner area, which is darker in color, this portion here, hindi masyadong dark dito sa slide, but this one with holes. The holes, take note, these are not normal parts or pictures of your cerebral cortex. So the darker area is your cerebral medulla, which is made up of white matter. So this is white matter. Further, the cerebral cortex is divided into several layers. The only layer that is very distinct, quite distinct, is the outermost, the pale staining area or layer. It's what you call your molecular layer. The rest of the parenchyma from this point to the medulla are not easily distinguishable from each other, so we'll not ask you to divide into the layers of your cortex. Instead, we'd just like you to identify one cell. The other cells, by the way, are also not distinct because they are not usually present with your usual staining. They're only seen with your special stains. So this is low power. Okay, the only cell I'd like you to identify will be seen, of course, under high power. Okay, it's a triangular shaped cell or pyramidal shaped cell. That's why we call it the pyramidal cell of Best. Sometimes it's difficult to find hanap ng tayo tablet. They range from large to small to large size. So the small one, you can easily see the triangular shape of this cell. It's the pyramidal cell of Best. That is the characteristic cell or parenchyma of your cerebral cortex. Okay? So isang cell lang hanapin nyo. The pyramidal cell of Best. Try to look for bigger ones. nagmamadali yung mga girls dito, wag na daw, tama na. Okay na daw. Ayan o, ayan pa ulit. Small. Diba? Big, small. Grabe lang sa cells. Next slide. Next slide is number 98. That is the cerebellum. So this is cerebellum. Again, take note of the bulges. These are of course again gyri, cerebellar gyri, and your cerebellar fissures. Now, again, we divide your cerebellum into your cerebellar cortex from this point. Of course, the outermost again is your pia, the only menace seen in this slide. And this is now your cerebellar cortex from this point to the dark area. See? So kung mala dito, from this point to this point. The inner portion, which is whitish, this is now your cerebellar medulla. This is cerebellar medulla. Cortex, again, of course, is gray matter. And medulla is white matter. Okay, so white matter, green matter. Again, we divide your cortex this time into 3 distinct sublayers. So let's turn to low power. The outermost layer, which is pale and stained from this point to this point, is again molecular. So that's your molecular layer. That's the first and outermost layer. The third and innermost layer, this layer, darker in color, is called granular layer. Granular. The second layer is made up of a single layer of cells. And you see those large cells. See, these are large cells. These are now your Purkinje cells, and it's best to see them under high power. That cell, by the way, are the neurons or nerve cells. In the same way, the Purkinje cells are also neurons. The characteristic appearance of your Purkinje cell, by the way, is flask shape. Parang yung flask natin, chemistry. Note again the prominent nucleolus within a nucleus. So that there they go is another clue that you are looking at a neuron. So this is another Purkinje cell. And another one. Just a single layer of Purkinje cells. So this is the second layer. We call that again your Purkinje cell layer. So again, from out, this is now your molecular layer. Intermediate second layer is your Purkinje cell layer. And the innermost layer of the cortex, cerebellar cortex, is granular layer. The innermost zone, of course, way below, which is pale staining, that one is now your cerebellar medulla. Let's move on to your spinal cord. Spinal cord is number 90. So this is spinal cord under scanner. And this time we can easily see your meninges. Okay. So this is the outermost meninges, that is dura. That is the outermost. This is part of your second layer, the arachnoid. It's also described as thin, fragile membrane. Usually we see fibers projecting from it. That's why we call it arachnoid for the word arachnida. And this is the third layer here. There you go, you can see. Again, it's described as vascular and closely adherent to the surface of your spinal cord. We call this, of course, pia mater. If you examine the picture of your spinal cord, you can see that it's a butterfly-shaped structure. There you go, butterfly shape. What I'd like you to take note of is that exactly at the center, you have an opening. We call that the central canal. This is, of course, for the passage of your cerebrospinal fluid. Now, before we leave the central canal, I'd just like you to look at it first under high power. So this is low power of your central canal, and this is high power of the central canal. So note that the central canal is lined by a single layer of columnar cells. These are what you call ependymal cells. Ependymal or ependymal cells. Simple columnar. Okay. So this is the lining epithelium of your central canal. Now let's move on back to your scanner. Like in the cerebrum and the cerebellum, the spinal cord is also divided into gray and white matter. However, the difference is that white matter is more superficial. This is white matter, and here inside, more inner is your, or innermost is your gray matter. Where if you remember, we find your neurons, right? This is where you find the nerve cells. And if you remember, we saw nerve cells as being stellate shaped. So look at this. This is a stellate shaped neuron. Ayan po. And if you remember, these are cells that are arranged haphazard or at random. This is high power. So again, there you go, that's your nerve cell, another nerve cell over here. So you can see again a nucleus. Tingnan natin kung mas maganda nucleus. Here's this one. Ayan. Look at the nucleus with a prominent nucleolus. So again, that is the clue that you are looking at a neuron. Right? Now, aside from the nucleus and the nucleolus, in some slides you'll be able to see that the cytoplasm is with granules. Granular po ang cytoplasm. Those represent your measles, granules. Okay? Now also notice